Good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okun. And then we are talking about the cost of living crisis. We have talked about the cost of living crisis for 12 months. This program began 12 months ago. Before then, we had a channel for 12 months. We did no work in it. And so the channel remained dormant. Now we thought it correct to talk about the cost of living crisis because it is topical. It is a symptom of capitalism, which is extreme, which is caused by poverty. And looking specifically today, if you watch this video, watch with the rest of the other videos where I've discussed other factors, put some fair logic into the issue of the cost of living crisis. We are now looking at the United Kingdom policy specific, looking particularly at the type of help the government is trying to give to support people who are actually suffering the cost of living crisis. And I've already said elsewhere, and I repeat it here, that the help given, although important, and people living in the United Kingdom should try their best to access, it is not adequate because the level of help is low, too low. And to solve the problem of poverty in the United Kingdom, the minimum wage should be raised adequately to remove the people of the United Kingdom out of poverty. And I have already said this, the objective, the primary objective of the public sector right now should be to remove the people of Britain out of poverty. No one person should be out of poverty. And I already said to the working class in particular who suffer poverty in the United Kingdom, especially the middle class who may not really feel they are suffering because of things like the credit system, which provide support for the middle class who work for a living. These will be changing rapidly because of technology, also because of politics, particularly politics, partisan politics, which is actually divisive and violent. I have mentioned this in several other videos. And if you want to be a good survivor, you need to look after yourself. And looking after yourself is actually to get the right kind of information, get the right kind of knowledge. Whether you are a child, if you are a child 10 years, or even less, or even 5 years, and you understand what is being said to you, it is critical at this time for everyone, children, young people, adults, rich, poor. If you are a human being, it is critical at this period, the time we live, because we have been behaving in very violent way. We have actually been conducting wars, which is worrying, and humanity living like that face extinction as a species. And this channel is actually pro-humanity. If you are pro-humanity, subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed already. If you have subscribed, I'm so grateful. The best way to support me and my channel is actually subscribing so that the channel grows. Over 100 million people in the world actually use YouTube on a daily basis. About actually 2.2 billion per month, and that is a lot of people if my figure is correct. And all these people are actually useful to at least to be reminded of the problem of our society, the politics and the development issues, but also cultural issues. If you watch the rest of the video, you will discover that what I have said about culture involve looking at how we value humanity. It's about value. We value money, which is a good thing. We value now wealth. We value development generally, which is a good thing, because it is our responsibility to do development, to work and develop to support our lives and livelihood. And the other aspect of progress is actually humanity, which is the cultural economy, as I refer to. And this involves learning specifics, focusing on humanity without more. humanity in its own right should be studied, should be actually thought through, should be designed, and it needs to be done now by individuals because the government is shutting down. If it works, then it works for its master, which is actually the master of a politician is actually power, wealth, and self-esteem, and all these other factors to do with human, what human wants. I mean, this is what people want. They want to be rich. They want to be powerful. They want to be famous. They are greedy. They also want to succeed. People desires comes in all shapes and sizes, and I say that is good. I mean, people should have ambition. People should want to be rich. People should want to be powerful. They want to earn access situation of authority where they dominate, they rule over other people, they rule over themselves, they rule over nature, they rule over the environment. That is what you people want. I mean, people are free to pursue their goals, to pursue their heart's desires, which is actually the right thing to do. What I am trying to say is that we are better off, probably critically better off, to prioritize humanity right now, because we have gone the way of development a bit too far. And not because development is a bad thing, but when we do development and fail to strike the right balance between development and humanity, then our development will increasingly benefit something else other than humanity. This is the basis of my conversation, my discussing these factors, this issue. Cost of living crisis, as I chose to discuss it, is actually a symptom. It's a sign. It's a sign to say we have actually lost our way on the path of humanity. In which case, we are neglecting people. We are actually valuing wealth and power and prestige more than humanity. Well, if humanity goes extinct as a species, which is my claim, that if we don't change the way we behave now systematically at an industrial level, meaning the billions of people in the world should change the way they think, to change the way they behave, beginning now through education, to teach themselves, beginning teaching their thought processes, how they think about people, because people come first. This is actually a cultural issue which involves the poor and the rich, because there are two categories of economic people, poor and rich. And economy and whether somebody is economy and wealth actually determine the element, the basic element of development. And development is part of progress, and only one component, in my opinion, only one component of progress. The other is actually humanity, because see, humanity should come first, because we develop so that humanity benefit from development. Now we do development at the expense of humanity. I have been saying this over and again, because people are now dying. Going forward, people will be dying in hospitals. People will, children are not able to access food in schools, or even school uniform, or even affording the cost of education in a rich country like Great Britain, United Kingdom. Now, because of globalization, what happened in the United Kingdom is replicated across the globe. I've said that in the other videos as well. And thank you so much for watching my videos, and thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing with family and friends and colleagues, and with whoever, even with strangers. If you have your way, share this video. I mean, sharing is really a sign of love. And love is actually a factor of peace. Peace is the roadmap to happiness. I mean, if you want to be happy, work for peace. If you achieve peace in family, in communities, in society, then you are happy. A lot of people are now very sad, especially the super rich, the multi-millionaires and the multi-billionaires are very sad because they have a lot of wealth. They have achieved development at the expense of humanity. They have failed relationship with family, with friends. They are always fighting. They're always killing one another. Humanity is actually now defaulted in society to destroy one another. I like to talk about these predicaments because everything we talk about pales into insignificant. If we can get as much help as we can, which is what we should do from the government, and because the public sector in any country is designed to help people who are not rich. Under capitalism, privatization or private entities or private businesses are for the super rich. It is also a vehicle to create wealth and also produce development through growth. Actually to power development through growth and other factors, so that we achieve factors such as technology, science, engineering, technology such as nanotechnology, robotics. I keep saying this again because these are really very cool aspect of our development or progress. And these things are really exciting and they are there to really make life easier for us. But if we abuse it to turn instruments of peace into weapon of mass destruction of war, weapon of war, we turn wealth into weapon of war instead of tools for peaceful dispensation, for peaceful processing. If we are perverted, if pervert the cause of justice, we pervert the processes of progress, then we are going to shoot ourselves in the head. It's more than shooting ourselves in the foot. We either shoot at your foot or rather than shoot at your head. If you shoot at your head, you're going to die very fast, actually, faster than shooting your other body part. So let us think. I am so excited posting this video, but the situation is very serious, and all of us should take responsibility. It doesn't matter if the only two of you are actually united. We need unity. As humans, we need unity now. And we need unity now to change the way we think, change the way we live, change the way we behave. Through education, through work, things like development, yes. But human progress is essential. It is our lifeline. Everything we do is about life. And so if we continue, so yes, we are talking about the cost of living, and we are actually looking at the specific in the United Kingdom. And we're looking particularly at something known as income maximization. Like I said, the cost of living is a crisis. It's related to income. It's related to poverty. If there was no poverty, there would be no cost of living crisis. And that is what I've been talking about. And thank you once again for being with me. So let us go back to looking at how the United Kingdom is actually giving help to the British people, and also watch the other video because this is a continuation. We have been looking at income maximization. This is what comes into you as income through work, through other benefits, and through profit. If you are doing business, any money coming in, it's actually income. Any money going out is outgoing. Debt is part of what leaves your hand. If you maximize your income, which means you increase the level of what comes in, but you also increase, try to manage things which get out of your hand, like being in debt. Paying bills is actually something will take income away from you. That's why there's a lot of sensitivity in household money with the cost of living crisis. So we'll talk about things like consumer. If you're a consumer, it means you buy things for use. You buy a car to drive from maybe home to play, to move around, visit friends, go to party, go to wedding. You are a consumer. But if you buy a car to maybe to do delivery, to do taxi, maybe to work the purpose of the car is actually to work, then you're investing in the car. It's form of an investment. Maybe if you have a business, that is actually to help you commute to between meetings, or you pay taxi. That is actually investment because it relates to your business. Business generate wealth, generate income in terms of maybe profit and other form of remuneration. So consumerism is actually what we use for our livelihood, and investment is what we actually we pay to multiply the wealth. See, it's a way. It's an investment. It's a way of multiplying wealth. So now, because the government has sort of things like the basics, like essentials, like water, for example. We're looking at water now. We will look at energy and other things. We'll be looking at different things, but now we're looking at water. Let's taking water, for example. You pay bills, water bills, and that makes you a consumer. So if you need help, you can actually contact consumer helpline from. You go online, you look for consumer helpline from organizations, like Citizen Advice, government website, or other charitable organization, or you just ask a friend or go to the library, find information, because if you need help with paying your bills, things like, you can contact somebody called consumer so there's something called a consumer council for water, which means water is what you drink, which is a basic necessity, because it is now privatized. So you are a consumer if you use water. This is actually a language, it's commercial languages now. And so there's something called consumer council for water. You go there and get help, different kind of help. If you want to know what help they give, look, watch the other videos. And things like grants. If you're in debt with water, you can actually contact their website to look for different suppliers of water, and you ask for grant. Grant is supported by the government, but it is their discretionary. Discretion means you are not actually, you don't have right to that help. If to put it in simple terms, if the water company is in a good mood, then you will get the help. If they're in a bad mood, then you won't. That is what discretionary. I mean, in an ordinary language, in a simplified way, to make people understand the situation effectively. Because see, if something is of right, then the government will give it differently, because people expect to get it if they need it. But even if you need it, if the water company says you cannot get it because they run out of money, or they think, even if you know that you are in need, if the water companies think you are not, whether they are wrong, they are the right to refuse to give you grants. So whereas the government is saying, because the government counts all these things, though in practice, like I said in the other video, in practice people actually don't get it, because first of all they don't know it exists, and most people do not know, because the energy company don't tell anyone at all that there is help, financial help. And if you go online, you will more likely than not, you won't see the help at all. Even if you look for it online, it's so hidden that, I mean, if the energy company wants to give grant to people, if you open their website, you would see the grant straight away. so that you don't take so long, because you look for those grants because you're in a crisis, like the cost of living crisis, and the government and the energy company tells you they're giving help, but this help do not reach people, and this is a situation arising because the government has privatized the public sector and the public service. The government is saying the private company are providing public service, but in practice they actually don't. So you have to try your best, and if you need more help with your water bills, contact the CCW on the website. Consumer Council for Water on their website. That is what the information is saying. There is also something called U-Switch. As the name suggests, U-Switch means you switch from one company, supplier, to the next. But like I said, whether you switch or not, the situation is the same. Because the problem is that help, or even the nature of supply, is the same in the sense, when you are in debt and you need grants or help, the most likely you're not going to get it, because getting it is so complicated, and if you get it, you're going to not get enough. The level of help is so low. And the other problem with this utility, which is water, is that the cost is going up, because these facilities are now subjected to the market forces of supply and demand. And if the government doesn't subsidize these private companies, especially small and medium businesses, the prices will keep going up infinitely. The prices of water under the private company, within the estate of privatization and the private system and the marketized context, the price of anything now is going to go indefinitely, such that the majority of the population will no longer be able to afford it. And because businesses are not producing goods and services enough so that they make money, even if they have the capacity to produce enough water or energy or food, they don't. I gave an example on food, that even though the government is subsidizing food, farmers producing food actually only sell less than 50%. The rest are actually thrown away back into the farm and is destroyed to artificially keep the prices of food high. And the change needed is that the government, whether it gives money to private companies producing food, whether it gives money or not to subsidize it, should regulate the market in relation to public service. This should happen in the UK and also happen across the globe. I am repeating this point because it is possible that the videos I have actually produced haven't been watched by some people. Hopefully they will see this, because YouTube is actually very fast. The visibility is a critical factor for your video to be spotted and watched. So that's why I repeat some of this point. And my apologies to people who have been watching my video. They will hear that I'm repeating a lot of the points, because I know that many people may miss it, and because the videos may get lost in the feeds. So every day I have to really try and repeat the key points. Also, the other point I would like people to remember is that in the United Kingdom, we have the England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. These form the United Kingdom. These four regions form the United Kingdom. And policies and practices in England and Wales are similar. So if you are looking for information or actual help, policy and practices in England and Wales is different from Scotland, also different from Northern Ireland. This is the point you need to bear in mind. But also in England and Wales, there are local authorities and different charities and different private companies. Their practices and the way they give help, whether they give help or not, is different. So you have to look at specific. That means if you are looking for a piece of information on grant, it may take you 6 months to find the information, because you, first of all, if you don't live in an area, it's almost like a lottery, like playing a lottery. And if your area do not provide help, you might not get help, actually, even if the government says it is giving help. Also, if you watch the other videos, you will discover that I have actually mentioned several things which I am repeating now. And thank you for your help. Thank you for subscribing to support this channel, and for watching, for clicking like, clicking notification bell, leaving comments, and also and participating in one way or the other. And there is a benefit known as universal credit. I have already spoken about universal credit. Universal credit occurred as a form of government reform, the Conservative Party government reform, which he said is going to simplify benefits. But when you go to claim new benefits, there's something called New Style Job Seekers Allowance, or New Style Employment Support Allowance. And these are there, but increasingly we are actually, the benefit system is moving on to universal credit. And go online, go on the gov.uk in the United Kingdom and find out about universal credit, or go to a charitable organization which give legal advice on these benefits, and find out how they work. Normally, there is something called eligibility criteria, which means to find out if you can get it. This is one of the things you advisors will help you. But also, if you go online, you can read about them. Normally, if you are on low income or unemployed, you are most likely to be eligible, which means eligibility means you can get the benefit. But like I said, the way the government has complicated the system of benefit, it's not easy to access benefit if you lose your job, or if you're low income, and if you're sick. Because if you're sick, you can claim universal credit. And if you're also struggling to pay bills, sometimes you get help, say with housing, paying your housing. And if you have no income, normally if you have £16,000 saving in your bank account in the United Kingdom, you're not going to get any benefit at all, except benefit which are not means tested. Means testing means it's actually tested against your income, investment, and other value, or other wealth or value you have, which is accounted as income. So things like sickness benefits, like personal independence payment for people who are actually below pension but younger, but older than older than children. If you're actually older, I think if you're older than 16, then I think if you're older than 15, then now you go to personal independence payment if you're a sick person. If you're a child below 16, you can now go to disability. You get disability living allowance. These are actually the same type of benefit, but the sickness benefit for children and for adults below pension age. If you are pensionable, which means you are now retired probably, or even if you are not retired, you have reached a certain age in the United Kingdom. I think in the UK about 65 years. If you're 65 years, you're actually pension age. If you're sick, to get a sickness benefit, you get something called attendance allowance. And there are all sorts of sickness benefits. Find out what they are. This discussion is under income maximization, which means you do everything under income maximization I'm talking about is under the cost of living. How the United Kingdom is trying to help its citizens who are actually affected by the cost of living crisis. So income maximization is one of the approaches to get help. And so when I talk about benefit, how you should get all the help, I mean, because there are so many different help in different places, it can take you a year to find out which ones are there, which ones are actually can be given to you, even if you think you can get sickness benefit, for example, sickness benefit. And some, there are other elements of universal credit which are given for sick people. They are called sickness elements. There's something called limited capability for work-related activity, which is actually a mouthful. And you have to really learn how to pronounce. I'm foreign. I'm not British. I'm born in Africa. So sometimes I have to almost go and learn some form of speech therapy to pronounce some of these complicated words. There is something called limited capability for work-related activity. It is a mouthful. These are actually a sickness element of universal credit, which actually the purpose for which is to treat a universal credit in a certain way, such as to increase the amount of universal credit you get because you are sick. Which I said at the outset of this program that this kind of policy and complication is unnecessary, because we are talking about one thing, poverty, and we are also the debate about poverty under these circumstances are being triggered by the crisis of the cost of living. And this poverty have always existed. and the United Kingdom is unable to eradicate poverty because the United Kingdom as a government has failed to raise the level of help, minimum wage in the first place, but also supporting small and medium businesses, because small and medium businesses have to make profit. If they don't, the government, in my opinion, should give them grants to bring their income to a level of the minimum wage, national minimum wage, or national living wage, which is something the government is talking about in the United Kingdom, which is okay, but it is not okay because the level is low, £10 an hour, or roughly, if you're working about £10,000 per annum, which I believe it should change from £10,000 to at least 20, but I think at least £30,000 after tax. So if you get £30,000 per annum, you should put it in your pocket or keep it in your bank. It shouldn't go back. None of it should go back to the taxman or taxwoman. It's always men who are actually avid taxers. By nature, society is run by men, except these days women are actually becoming also runners of society, which is okay, which is fine, because we are practicing equality, and we are actually, I think we are, in some cases, the society is actually becoming unequal in favor of women, and in disfavor of men. Men now being marginalized even more than women used to be marginalized. If you go to a family, if you go to average families in the United Kingdom now, men are actually silent. Women are the ones who talk. And children are even now beginning to talk more than adults. It's like the modern world is now turning upside down in the name of freedom and equality, which is probably a good thing. Leave a comment below if you think equality should now produce, the quest for equality should produce a type of another equality where men are now being oppressed by women, and children are actually being oppressed by adults are being oppressed by children. Children now are the ones telling parents what to do. Parents are now on the defense. This is what is happening, and this is what I refer to as cultural troubles. No, we are actually facing cultural calamity because, in my personal opinion, somebody has to lead. In a family, in society, in my opinion, men should be responsible for leadership in society. Men and women will not agree with me, and they will actually treat this statement to be offensive. They can choose to do that, but this is my honest opinion. And because I think, you see, as human species, women are created for certain specific responsibilities. Because the world is a difficult place. I know we are accessing technology, but with technology, even if you see now the wars in Ukraine, men are the ones dying more than women and children. These men are dying to protect women and children. You see, in the Middle East, the same. Although the behavior of warfare now, if Israel bombs a hospital where there are, because you see, where there are children, there are always women in these places, because women, even now, if you go to school, my home is actually next to school. You find that normally women are the one bringing children to school, because naturally women carry children in their homes and they undergo labor, give birth to the children, and most women still breastfeed children. If they don't breastfeed, a lot of women actually stay at home, maternity leave. There is also paternity leave, but there is more maternity leave than paternity leave. So, as a reality now, although some women now increasingly are not really interested in relationship which involve children, some women do not want to give birth to children anymore because it restricts them. It actually prevents them from competing with men. Yeah, especially women who are obsessed with the idea of equality between men and women. I don't get it, because see, leave a comment below and let me know what you think by the meaning of equality. It's a really difficult concept for me, because equality must mean something specific. I don't know if it means the same, or is there a difference between the same and equality? Because people really try to be creative with terminologies, especially at the intellectual level, at professional level, at political level. What is equality? If a woman doesn't look like a man physically, then in terms of physical appearance, how do you interpret equality between a man and a woman? How can a woman be equal to a woman? How can a child be equal to adults? How can disabled people be equal to able people? I mean, so how are we going to deal with the idea of difference? Because we want to be equal, but we also want to be individuals with difference. A lot of people now want to be individuals. Because if I say, I don't like smoking, I should assume the man or woman next to me also do not want smoking. See, that's the idea of individuality. But if you look at this, it could also be an idea of equality or inequality. Because if I treat differently, the idea of discrimination may also creep in. So I treat somebody who drinks, who smokes, Who likes one thing or another? Fast food or whatever. Who likes certain type of thing? But I don't like it. Maybe they smoke, I don't. They like going to the park or to pubs or to discos. They probably like socializing, probably I don't. I like reading probably and talking. They don't like reading, they don't like talking. So, but we have to live together as a society. So we are trying to look at individuality. We want to be individuals. But at the same time, we want to be families. We want to be social living, social beings. We don't want to live alone. That is the meaning of loneliness. If you are lonely, it means you are actually living alone. 20 people can be living in one space individually, including children, including mothers, including husbands, including brothers and sisters. Especially now with telephone, with computer, with internet, with games. People, you can't be sitting close to somebody and be lonely. You want to talk to them, they are on their phone. They are your wife. They are your husband. They are their child. They are your best friend. But they are not talking to you. They are actually talking to other people, the people they don't even know in the social media. They're talking to strangers. This is the impact of technology. How do you address this situation? Individuality, family, society, group, all these things. So to go back to what I was talking about, now, what I would say to the government in terms of poverty, raise the level of income for the poor people first. People at about 20 to 30% at the lower, at the lower bottom of the scale, and the middle class second, and probably some vulnerable upper class. Upper class, in my interpretation, is actually, if you're upper class, it means you're a millionaire and billionaire. Because you see, class is actually defined fundamentally by income. And income actually determines wealth and access to wealth. And if you can access adequate wealth to prevent suffering the cost of living crisis, then you should be a millionaire or a multimillionaire. And there are millionaires and multi-billionaires, and especially millionaires. If you have maybe 3 or 4 million pounds, if you're not careful, you may be actually poor, because if you have cash, liquid cash, it's in liquidity. You have it maybe in your bank account or wherever you have it, but you actually, maybe you have 3 million in your bank account, but also you are in debt to the tune of maybe 7 or 8 million. Then you're actually poor, because you have to deduct that. You're actually poor by 5 million. You're negative. Your income, you're actually living in poverty in terms of prospect, in terms of real world. That is what I would credit. The credit system can distort the status of wealth and access to wealth. And these are some of the things I've mentioned, by the way. But as I go through this, because there are so many, so many information on income, including on employment, including on healthcare, because healthcare is a form of it affects our income, because if we go to the hospital and we have to pay for our prescription because we work, because we are not on benefit, and then we're in trouble, because it's getting more and more expensive. There are prescription drugs now being withdrawn from prescription so that you can pay for it at a market rate. Even if a few years ago there was still prescription medicine. These are some of the things which are now happening with hospital, with the clinics in the United Kingdom. And my suspicion that what's happening in the United Kingdom is happening somewhere else also. And so that's why I'm actually going through this and also making commentary And thank you again. If you're still watching, if you've been watching, um, share and make leave a comment and let me know your opinion. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can say just click. Just show that you are around, because uh, we are making progress, and the progress has been slow. But that's okay because of the nature of the topic we talk, or maybe other reason, because every day I'm learning how to use the equipment. Even if the equipment is there, I might not be able to use it. It's just like creating a template, for example. I think I should be creating some form of a template so that I manage how to handle videos more effectively. And perhaps next year I will start that process, because we are 1 year old, and I'm so grateful that we made it. The first year is always the most challenging. I think next year we will build on what we learned this year and improve the quality of our material. And also, going forward, we'll hopefully be diversifying our topics. I've been concentrating on the cost of living crisis. I've been concentrating on politics and policy mainly for the rest of the year. Now I'm looking at the practical element of the cost of living in terms of the help being available in the United Kingdom to mitigate the incident of the cost of living crisis. So we're looking at universal credit. Universal credit is a form of benefit. Benefit is money mainly, and the money given to people who need help. But this help, my suggestion to people who need help, if you work for a living, do something called a benefit calculation. I've mentioned benefit calculation in the other videos. If you watch there, hopefully you will find them. If you don't find them, if you go online, I think I would suggest you type entitled to, which is one word. If I was doing thumbnail effectively, I was going to leave a link on the screen, but I'm still learning to do that. I'm not sure the equipment I have is able to do it. And people are so busy. Although I speak to people, okay, well, we're going to help. We're going to help, because I'm still working alone at the moment. YouTubing, we need a community. But at the moment, I'm working alone, which is okay because of the nature of the topic I'm dealing with elsewhere as well. So entitled to is one word. Also, turn to us is also one word. These are the two main websites. If you just go online, you will find them. You can't miss them. Then you put information there. Your personal details, and obviously you put this information there. You put information where you live, what type of property you live in, and whether you're a student. If you're a student, probably you're most likely. I think it's best if you go to turn to us if you're a student, and entitled to normally if you work or you're self-employed or whatever. But but one of the things you can do, the most likely, if you cannot do it yourself, contact citizen advice or any of the charities. There are so many charities online. Just watch out that they're genuine, and if you have an opportunity, try to learn to use the internet. Try to the basics really going to really be really important, because most of the things are now being done online. Even education, learning, anything. I mean, universal credit is only claimed online. If you don't have access to the internet, you're not going to get benefit. And the main benefit is now it was actually universal credit, the one single biggest change ever done in the Department of Works and Pensions is actually universal credit. It is so fundamental. It's probably the only benefit now available, universal credit. If you cannot get universal credit, you will not get benefit, because what used to be housing benefit is now universal credit. What used to be child tax credit and working tax credit is now universal credit. And income support is now universal credit. So a whole host of benefit is now grouped under universal credit. You get one benefit. But there are elements which should be abolished. Elements of universal credit should be abolished today. What the government should focus on, whether you call it universal credit or whatever you want to call it, raise the level of income up. And if you are not interested in giving sickness benefit, which health assessment is preventing people from getting sickness benefit. Health assessment is actually done by non-clinical individuals. Even if the doctor says you are sick, you cannot work, which should have been enough for you to get sickness benefit. And the application process, the process of actually getting it, the application form is so complex that, and it's so long, you can actually take an hour to apply it online. And also the system is so incapable. If your computer doesn't work well, you're not going to even apply for it. Because you see, if you have a problem with internet, if it is slow, because you have to do it online, and you can probably, because even if you print it, they want you to put the information online. And if I'm right, we'll just check. I think you can print the form and post it with our sickness benefit. I'm actually trying to confuse universal credit with sickness benefit. See, I mean, this confusion is not necessary. That's what I'm talking about, because the government is giving less benefit to people who are not sick. In theory, it is saying it will only help. It will give more money to people who have more needs, like sick people or elderly. But you see, some pensioners don't even know how to claim their pension and when to claim it and where to find information. And the government doesn't actually help them. Employers, a lot of employers actually help. Maybe employers help employees with work pension. And why should you have work pension, pension credit, state pension? Why should you have private pension? All types of pension. Shut it down. If you are government, if you are clever, shut that down. One pension is enough. Whether somebody has worked or not, they should get the full pension. And the law on state pension now, which is actually the most reliable pension, with state pension given by the government. Work pension, you only get it if you work. There are people who never worked. And since 2019, since the government changed policy in the United Kingdom, I think 2019, you have to work 10 years now to get state pension in the first place. If you work less than 10 years, even by a day, you're not going to get state pension. You're going to get something called pension credit. I think it's called guaranteed element of state pension credit, which is actually pension credit, because now you can only get pension credit anyway if you retire now. But because some people retired, I can't remember the year where they changed that, because they keep changing it all the times. I don't have the information of the other type of pension credit. Some people may now be living without pension credit because they don't know they're entitled to. So if you meet somebody like that, you want to help them, you need to know when they retire, because when they retire require what type of pension credit they get, or what type of state pension they get. Because some people must have retired maybe 10, 20 years ago. They are not getting pension because they don't know they are entitled to. It's not like the level of pension is high. And it was also fragmented. You have to claim housing benefit. I think council tax reduction also to support you with the cost of council tax. If somebody is already on low income, why do you charge them council tax? And you ask them to claim council tax reduction, which is a total nonsense. Government should shut down council tax reduction, shut down all the benefits associated with the housing, shut it down, and build enough public housing for people on low income, people on benefit, people on minimum wage should get access to public housing within 1 week. Temporary accommodation should be given to anybody who is homeless. And the government should reform the law on immigration immediately, because it is a form of wickedness, it's a form of evil for the United Kingdom government to persecute, actually to abuse immigrants. You see, if somebody comes here and they're running away from death, maybe there is death or suffering in another country, they're fleeing to another country, they cannot be illegal. They are only illegal because the government is stupid to make that illegal. You see, if you commit murder, if you kill somebody, it is a murder because the law says so. If you take the law of murder, you can kill as many people as you like. It will not be even illegal. It will not be even a crime. So every law, every offense is created by the law. So when the government label immigrants as illegal, it's as if these immigrants do not have need. They have need. What manner of a woman or a man to leave their homelands, to flee to another? Maybe somebody is trying to kill them, and they are dictators. Say in Ukraine, you see, say in Afghanistan, say in Syria, in Sudan, okay, say in parts of Africa, maybe Rwanda. If you look at the record, the human rights record of Rwanda, only the United Kingdom government do not know how to read reports from the authority on human rights abuse. Ministers, especially Home Office ministers, including foreign ministers, they are blind. They don't know how to read materials. Or do they? Well, if they know how to read, they should read these reports about Rwanda, which is what is not happening. I mean, it's just creating confusion. The United Kingdom has enough money to look after illegal immigrants, including America, including anywhere in Europe. It is just a form of showing off. Politicians are showing off that they are so busy trying to look after the British people. I mean, if you are actually that clever, if you are British government, stop talking about immigration. Confusing people is as if to say it is the responsibility of illegal immigrants who are actually less than, I don't think they are even 1 million. And the United Kingdom government is so wealthy that 1 million people can come to the UK every day. From illegal immigrants can come for economic reason, because Britain is rich. They want wealth. They should be allowed to come here and stay maybe for 6 months and say, okay, you have had our wealth, now go back to Africa or to wherever else. But Africa is potentially the richest continent in the world, I think. If not the second after Asia. Why is Africa poor? Because of the government. The government is to blame. African governments are to blame for African poverty being in Africa. Europeans and Americans and Asians are to blame for poverty in Africa. Governments are to blame. They are responsible because they want to keep people poor deliberately. The government is wicked. If the government was normal, poverty would be eradicated next year. With technology, with all the infrastructure, just in the UK, Richie Sunak should talk to Jeremy Hunt. Jeremy Hunt is the finance secretary, finance officer. He's chancellor of the exchequer of the United Kingdom. Speak to him and speak to conservative extremists in Westminster. Say, we have really punished the British people enough with our wickedness. You see? With our wickedness to keep them poor. Let us now stop and give them a rest, a break for 10 years. Let's just get them out of poverty for 1 year, for 10 years. Then we can decide whether to start punishing them again. I don't know what the British people have done to these politicians. So as to abuse and keep them in poverty deliberately. Raise the level of the minimum wage today. Ask the rich, ask King Charles, Prince William, the Duke of Cornwall, the royal family have enough wealth to share with poor people on minimum wage to remove the amount of power. Just the royal family. And then you have churches, you have certain organizations, banks. This is just the United Kingdom, or individuals like Virgin, Sharp, Lord Sugar from the apprenticeship. For apprenticeship, he's a billionaire. I'm talking about billionaires and millionaires. They can give their money freely every month to the government, to give to poor people, to raise the level of minimum wage. And if that is not enough, they can go to America. The United Kingdom can go to America and ask Joe Biden and the Republicans and the Democrats in America to ask people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos in America or Bill Gates. Give a bit of your wealth. Stop going into space. We have enough problem on Earth. Let us first get the poor out of poverty, then we can go on to space. Let Elon Musk shut down whatever, it's X, whatever. What you could the spacecraft you're trying to send into the space. SpaceX. SpaceX, shut it down. He doesn't even have to shut down SpaceX. Elon Musk can give $1 billion a year, and Jeff Bezos doing the same. Donald Trump doing the same, and Bill Gates, all the multi-billionaires in America, in Europe. The rumors is that Putin is the richest man on earth. There's a rumor, the president of Uganda is worth in excess of $13 billion US in Nigeria. The richest man in Africa is worth billions, tens of billions of US dollar. I need to take a couple of dollars and give it for free to Nigerian government and all the bankers of the world. This is money. All print more money. If you do not now want to give money for free, just print more money. So that the British people are paid £30,000. If the government want to, if the government is so desperate not to give free housing to the British people, to people who are actually living in poverty, people on benefit, people who are actually on minimum wage, government could do that. You see, nobody is supposed to be poor anywhere in the world. So, talk about universal credit in the United Kingdom. It's a benefit, the main benefit, like I said before. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And I'm so grateful for your help. So going back to universal credit, like I said, if you need help with If you're looking after a child, you're having child care costs. You're caring for someone. You maybe paid child carers allowance. I've spoken about carers allowance, but going forward, I will still be talking about benefit because it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm just giving an introductory overview. That's why I'm still to get people familiar with all the nitty gritty, because it's a major area of policy. Universal credit is a major area of government policy to deal with income issue, with poverty, so to speak. So if you already get other benefit, you might have to move to universal credit instead. Like I said, because of changes, there is no set level of income where you stop being eligible for universal credit. It depends on your situation. So that's the kind of language you find written about universal credit. Get familiar with the way it is talked. So read. You can actually look at the kind of advice they give. They are always written down, or you can contact the organizations. So you can actually do a benefit check, like I said previously. Benefit calculation is part of it. And you can do a benefit check if you can get universal credit. And if you're still not sure, you can talk to an advisor, like I already said before. So you can find out the type of person who can get universal credit. And like I said already, to get universal credit, you must be 18 years old or over, or in some cases 16 years or 17 years. You should be under the state pension age, because if you are actually pension age to get pension, universal credit for people who are working age, because 16 years, in some cases 16 or 17 years, which means, for example, if they are not going to full-time education, or they are in certain situations, maybe they are dependent because of maybe being sick or mentally ill or physical sickness, which actually make them subject to full care. They are dependent adults other than non-dependent adults. So if you're under the state pension age, check your state pension age. If you're over 60 years old, do that on gov.uk. I've already actually mentioned this in this video, and also I'll mention it in the other videos. So if you live in the UK, because where you live is very important, sometimes where you live determines whether or not you get a benefit. The United Kingdom already defined at the outset, including England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. So if you live in the United Kingdom, there are extra rules if you are not a British citizen. You may be living in the United Kingdom, but necessarily it doesn't mean you are actually a British citizen. These may affect whether or not you get any benefit at all. There are people living in the United Kingdom. We are actually subjected to something called no recourse to public fund. If you look at your passport or any immigration document, it's written on no recourse to public fund, which means you are not allowed to access and use public fund, which is what I said before. If you have already entered Britain, it doesn't matter how illegal you are, you should be entitled to benefit straight away, like it used to be. Like it used to be. And it's a form of wickedness in a rich country. And the British people may think that it's good. The government is doing the right thing. But if the government can abuse foreigners who visit, whether legally or illegally, if your government, the British government, is able to abuse them because they are humans, they are not animals. Perverts actually care about animals and trees and waters more than human life. And perverts, actually, people who are so wicked, hiding behind politics and policies like immigration rules. I mean, if somebody says you are illegal, don't come to Britain, then such a person is a wicked person. I mean, if somebody is coming to your country, let them in, and then have a word with them. Talk to them. It shouldn't even involve the court. People talk a lot about protecting borders. What are you protecting borders for? If you are not insane, I mean, what are these people bringing into the United Kingdom? Crime. What if they are not criminals? You are criminalizing them by calling them, referring to them as illegal immigrants. And you are the problem. You, the government, is the problem. You are criminalizing people who are innocent. People who are actually coming here without the proper means. They are coming illegally. You are actually making them look bad. I mean, you are so rude. People coming into your country, you have to be polite to them. It is said that the British people are very nice people. So are other people. If you go to other people, they are even nicer than British people. That is if they are nice. Because humans are actually the same. Whether you are British, living in Europe, or somebody else living maybe in Africa. People are so weird. Because somebody coming to your home, you don't stop being rude to foreigners, whether you are an African, whether you are American. Let people come, respect them. That is a cultural distortion, which is what Amazon refer to cultural, incompetence. In the United Kingdom, in Europe, in America, in Africa, incompetence, cultural incompetence. Immigrants coming into your country, be polite. Stop being rude to foreigners. If you're British, if you are European, you're African. And this rubbish about Rwanda is really a form of madness. It's like the British government is on drugs. Insane. And this kind of insanity is encouraged by politicians who are playing politics with anything, desperation to stay in power, and giving excuses, using immigration, even if immigration is not an issue. Now, the British government should be talking about the cost of living crisis. Get the British people out of poverty. If you are government enough, it's not that complicated. Raise the level of minimum wage. Raise the level of benefit. And streamline benefit to make it simple. One benefit is enough, including you may put benefit for adults and benefit for children. Two types of benefit, child benefit and adult benefit. And stop there. If you want to tax the poor, tax them. But every tax money should be given back to the poor. I mean, you allow multimillionaires and multi-billionaires to avoid taxes. People who are so rich, they do not know what to use money for. They play with money like rich children playing with food. If you go to Africa where there is poverty, people worship food. And that is how people should behave. Respect your life, respect your wealth. Stop abusing yourself, stop abusing wealth. That is rude. It's not nice. Do something with your life. Stop being redundant, chasing ghosts in the form of illegal immigrants. If you're a conservative MP, which has no clue how to run Britain, political bankruptcy, including New Labour, I'm not really interested in New Labour at all because I think they're on drugs. They're on drugs alongside the Conservative Party. The Liberal Democrats used to behave as if they were for the people of Britain. And then the British people show their true colors. I mean, if you don't really care about poverty, then about the majority of the population who are actually poor, and you even misrepresent the information, you can tell clearly that, almost if you're not a millionaire, you're actually poor. That is how contrasting it is. And so it is the case that every government should sit down, go back as politicians to the drawing board and do something useful with your life as a politician to get the British people out of poverty. And Britain should lead the world by example. You cannot be a leader, one leader, and talk about poverty. What, you have no shame. What has bewitched politicians? What has bewitched leaders in Britain? They have no sense of shame. The British people cannot be associated. It is so embarrassing. If you're a politician, if I was a politician, it's going to be really, really difficult for me to face the British people and say, our people, you are so poor. It is the worst form of insult to a British person, to a British child, a British woman. A British woman cannot be poor. This is United Kingdom. Nobody in United Kingdom should be poor. It is so shameful. It's so embarrassing. And if politicians cannot have no shame, they do not have shame, then which planet do they live? Have you walked the streets? Have you gone to local authorities, into the hospital, into public library, at food bank, in churches, where people are now going there to beg in the United Kingdom? How can that be? What kind of country is this? What kind of country is America? Poor people in America. The most important country on earth, China. Why should poor people be in China? I mean, is that wickedness or what? I mean to say, you leave a comment below. If you are a minister in a country, you are watching this video, speak to me. Stop hiding. Come clean. Leave a comment below. Tell me in plain language why there are poor people in Britain. I mean to say, are you... 5-year-olds can run the country better than the current politician in Westminster, in Washington, in Russia. Russia is busy fighting Ukraine. How many poor people are in Russia? Middle East, Israel, pretending to be fighting terrorists. Why did Hamas go to kill Israel? You ask Hamas, what does Hamas gain by killing Israel and Israel killing Hamas? If these people are not wicked, they are not perverts. Both of them, they are perverts. Children are being murdered. Women are being murdered. In hospitals in Gaza. That is perversion. Israel should be told of. Immediately, the Arabs should be told of. They are ashamed. They are murderers. When you kill an Israelite, if you kill an Israeli, you are wrong. If you kill an Arab, you are wrong. These people are humans. They are not supposed to be killed. Syria, the government of Syria should not kill the Syrians. It is wrong. Niger in Africa, the Congo, the Sudan, the rest of Africa, the kind of murders, the kind of killing by the government should stop, because that is wrong. There is no right. Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, America, Europe is giving firearms to Russia and Ukraine. China is probably giving firearms to Russia. China. And what are they doing? They are killing each other. How can you do that and you are in government? I mean to say, if there is any sense of decency in modern governments, if you resort to killing citizens or anybody else, shut the government down. We don't need something like that. Let us go back to the jungle and live without government. Government is useless. You cannot live life like that. You cannot allow people to die of poverty anywhere in the world, including in Africa. This has to stop right here, right now. This cannot go on no longer. And the British people should speak out. Go and talk to your MP and tell your MP what you are doing is wrong. There is no excuse. I watched the BBC. We are conducting question time. The thing people talk, politicians talk there is total rubbish. These politicians should not be invited to question time. People who are actually facing poverty should be invited by the BBC to talk about poverty, because they know what it is. Politicians do not understand the meaning. They can't even spell poverty because they didn't go to school. They stole their exams. They are so thick. They don't have intelligence. If you don't understand poverty, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in Britain or in Africa, regardless who you are. If you don't know what poverty is, and you are a British government, you allow poverty to exist in this country even for a day, you don't deserve to be in government. Get out. We would rather have a country without a government. Until the idea of poverty, the war should stop today. Whether people are barbarians or not. Because you see, if government still allows war to occur, why are we sending our children to school? What for? To learn how to fight, to learn how to use knives, to kill each other on the street. Is that why our children, I live near the school. There's something called school runs. Is that what we are trying to do? We are trying to take our kids through reception, nursery, primary education, secondary education, wherever, to teach them in school how to be insane. Somebody goes to school, they are at the top of the class, A student, A plus students. They are said to be really intelligent, very, very clever. They pass exams. They're at the top of their class. They go to Oxford, they go to Cambridge, they go to public school, Eton, the best of the best. And they come out totally drunk. They cannot eradicate poverty in the United Kingdom, in Europe, in America, in Africa. Africa is funded by European banks, the IMF and the World Bank. I don't know what kind of poison the IMF and the World Bank have eaten to keep Africa poor deliberately. The most wealthy continent, the second richest, probably even the richest, all the minerals used for computer, for you name it, come from Africa. Chocolate is, the ingredients are brought from Africa. Without chocolate, the world will go extinct. And we allow Africa to languish in poverty. At least you could have argued Africans are blacks. They are foreign. They are less human. How about the British people? Most of them, actually, there are only 7% of black people in the United Kingdom. The rest are actually white or mixed race. I think 80% are actually white people in the United Kingdom. Why are you allowing them to die of poverty? What is your excuse? See, if you are handling black people, you see, a black person like me, I'm used to be treated as slave. Why are you? I mean, what is your excuse for mistreating a fellow white person in a white country? My country is in Africa because I'm a black man. If I'm treated badly because this is not my country, I'm black. But there are black people like Kwasi Kwarteng who are even treated. You wouldn't even think Kwasi Kwarteng is a black person. There's a conservative guy, I think he's called Beam Afolame. I like that guy because he's very bright. He's a conservative gentleman. I think he's in the front bench. Now, I don't know if his portfolio. I think he's one of the ministers. I like that guy. Kenny Badenoch is really cool. And Swala Braverman is really, really cool. These are some of the politicians I really like. But I like them. But what are they doing? The Conservatives, the Labour Party, the New Labour, Liberal Democrat, King Charles, His Royal Highness, the King. What is the King doing? The King is busy talking about the environment. If the King is that clever, and he's supposed to be one of the cleverest people, the most looked after, even from the womb, the most nurtured. I mean, men and women don't get better than the royal family of Britain. They only don't understand one thing: poverty. What has bewitched the British people? What has bewitched the Africans, Europeans, Americans? Because this thing is happening everywhere. It's not just in one country. It's happening everywhere. Poverty, war, violence, death, destruction. When is it going to stop? How long? We have been waiting in Britain for peace. When is it going to come? We are still waiting for our money in the United Kingdom. The British government promised. Since the credit crash in 2007 and 2008, wait, we are growing the economy. We are creating wealth. They did. They grew the economy. The economy is grew. And then, what did the British government say? We have Brexit. And when we finish Brexit, we are going to give money. The money didn't come. Nurses are not being paid. Doctors are not being paid. The minimum wage is still low. Benefit is falling apart. The healthcare is gone. Education is gone. Public transport is gone. Housing is in tatters. This country is dying. Europe is sinking. America, Africa is dying. What has gone wrong? And this is the question. You can avoid it, but it's not going to go away. Violence, destruction, death, misery. It has to stop. Because you see, we have one choice to bring peace today, now, right now. If you're watching this video, I'm really grateful. I'm going to stop it here. Next time we meet, we're going to look at benefit system in the United Kingdom, universal credit. We're looking at it generally. But going forward, if we are still interested in this topic, then I will be looking at more detail about the benefit system, employment system, in terms of social policy and social legal infrastructure system. Look at it and link it to the cost of living crisis. The cost of living crisis may be tedious. Some people think, okay, this channel has been talking about the cost of living on and no. Cost of living is used, I'm using the cost of living to illustrate broader problem of society, including immigration. Immigration may or may not be part of the cost of living crisis. But I will be talking about immigration. I am going to be talking about employment, healthcare, housing. The British government should build enough housing. Whether it is affordable or not is irrelevant. Going forward, the British government should look for money to build enough housing for everyone living in the United Kingdom. Who is on benefit, number one. Who is on minimum wage, number two. Whether you raise the level up or not is a different topic. Housing should be provided free. People on public housing should not pay rent. They should not pay council tax. They should not pay service charges. They should not pay for food. They should not pay for energy. They should not pay for water. On the one hand, on the other, they shouldn't pay for healthcare. They shouldn't pay for public transport because they need public transport to go to work or to go to the hospital or to claim benefits or to look for housing if they are homeless. That's what the public service is needed for. And we need to build more, not less buses and trains. And if we have buses and trains, let us run them. Let us not neglect running of buses and trains in the name of efficiency saving. Rubbish. And let us maintain the railway tracks. Let us maintain the roads. Bus route should operate. Traffic light should be removed from bus lanes. And generally, going forward, we have to have less traffic light, which is actually creating traffic jam. And the government deliberately using traffic lights and the road signs to create traffic jams deliberately. If that is the case, then you need to dig tunnels so that cars can run in London underpass or bypass or over flyovers where there is no traffic light, where there's no traffic. And traffic lights should be reduced. Obstruction, controls of traffic should be reduced so that traffic can move. That is what is creating traffic jam. And that is a policy which need to be implemented infrastructurally on the roads so that there is less traffic, there is less pollution. That will actually remove the necessity to charge congestion charges and also pollution charges, the so-called ULEZ. So, speed bumps should also be removed. Okay? The road should be made shape wider. There should be barriers to protect civilians. There should be pathways. If I say civilians, I mean pedestrians. If pedestrians want to cross road, they can cross it by a bridge or underpass. These systems can be created. If pedestrians are so keen on walking or riders, it can be done. If underpass, then there should be enough space for bicycles and also enough space for pedestrians to walk underground if necessary, or fly over or overground if you like. All these are actually doable. The political will is the only problem with the United Kingdom, and what problem you find in the United Kingdom, you find it across the globe. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to this channel and support it in whatever way you can. Comment below, click like, notification bell, share with family and friends. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.